So I'm super hyped to be joined today by Warren Lawfer, VP of Business Development for Arena Club. Now, if you're not familiar with Arena Club, you really have to check it out. There's been a ton of news and hype around this platform in the sports card market recently, and some of it's around all the crazy features they're offering, and of course, some of it is around one of their co-founders being Derek Jeter. I'm going to cut right to the chase, Warren. A lot of people want to know, in looking at the different platforms that have entered the market since 2020, really what is Arena Club all about?
Simplest way to put it is that what we're trying to do at Arena Club is bring to life that experience of being at a card show, because at its core, that's what we all love to do. I think it's, everyone on our team, that's like our favorite place in the world is to be at that card show, whether that's rummaging through dollar bins, whether that's making a deal, whether that's making a trade, buying, selling, what have you. And so the goal with Arena Club was to bring that whole experience to life 24/7, 365, wherever you are in the world, to enable you to have that experience of being at a card show without actually having to go be at that card show, or to have everyone that you're going to interact with also have to be at that same card show with you at the same time.
Okay. So do you see Arena Club, now I know it's a marketplace, but I know you also offer grading services.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, taking it back to that thought of being at a card show, right? And the way that people interact at a card show. You might buy, look, right next to me, I've got this Julio Rodriguez PSA graded slab. And you might have a Beckett slab, you might have an SGC slab. And at a card show, you might be able to buy a slab graded card. You also might be able to buy a raw card. But if you're going to buy a raw card, you're probably going to do a little bit more diligence on it. You're going to spend a little bit more time checking out the corners, checking out the surface, looking for those things, because in the back of the mind, you're like, hey, maybe I'll grade that card someday, right? Or, at least that's what's going to drive the value of it. But online, there's a lot of good platforms out there that I use, eBay, ComC, even my slabs. But you don't always get that experience with raw cards, StarStock too, where you don't know exactly what you're getting. And so we wanted to use our grading product as a way of enabling the transparency and the visibility that you get in person at a card show. And a consequence of that was, we built a new way of grading with transparent grading reports. You can really see why you're getting the deductions that you're getting. And we think that's an improvement on what's out there in the grading world right now. But we certainly didn't set out to be a new grading company. We set out to be a digital marketplace, and the grading was a way to enable that.
And I think that is a definitely market differentiator in terms of, I guess I see it in two ways. One, the full transparency. A lot of people get back their cards graded and say, well, how did I get a 9 on this? Because as you know, everybody is an expert grader now, right? Because they go through it with a fine tooth comb. They think they're sending in, they're going to get a 10. And when they get that 9 or, oh my gosh, an 8, they freak out. And of course, a grading company is crazy for doing that. So allowing for that transparency kind of helps the customer along that journey. So I think that's a great customer journey for that. From a standpoint of the submitting cards to your marketplace, instead of requiring them to be graded, you allow people to send in raw cards and then you grade them on the spot, in addition to accepting any graded cards from any other vendor, correct?
Right now, we accept PSA, Beckett, SGC, and CSG. Okay. As we scale, we expect we'll probably start opening up a little bit more. But okay, as we become, especially, with Derek's involvement, we want to be a really broad-based place. We want to invite people into a hobby that honestly otherwise is a little bit scary and a little bit intimidating if you don't have the lingo and the vocabulary and the comfort level that I think, hobby insiders might have. And part of that is a responsibility for us as, hobby insiders building this company to protect those new people. Because I think one thing that we all know is it only takes one really bad experience to sour someone to this whole industry and this whole hobby for maybe the rest of their lives. And so as we allow for other grading companies to be sold on our platform, we really want to make sure that they've had time to, mature, that we've had time to do our diligence on those companies, because we really see it as a responsibility to new users, new people coming into the hobby, that if they maybe don't know everything about each individual grading company that hobby insiders do, that we're, being good stewards of the hobby as we invite new people into it as well. So we expect, there's some really cool things that are happening out there. I know Tag Grading just launched. We've talked to them a lot. What they're doing is super cool, and I expect, hopefully soon that we'll have them and some other grading companies join the platform as well.
And I do like that attitude, Warren, of the fact that you guys are, in essence, also a grader, but you're very supportive of other grading companies. So there's no animosity, it seems, from Arena Club to the other grading companies. It's, hey, we just want to vet you, and once we're in a place where we're comfortable, the more the merrier.
Totally. And I think that you get, great innovation for the hobby. We really, again, we come from a collecting background. Everyone at the company, from Derek and Brian to me, we're real collectors. Like you can't really see it, but I have my bookcase right here that's just full of wax. I mean, I've got some weird stuff that I could just pull up. Here's the tops. Is this chrome or regular? This is the regular tops from the Japanese league from last year, right? There was a Japanese product exclusive. I had one of my friends from business school who serves in the Navy in Japan, bought this in Japan and shipped it over to me. I've got a whole case of things like that. And so we are really, deep collectors. Everyone obviously collects their own thing. But we're collectors and we want to, grow this hobby. And, that's why we're all working in it. We want to make it better. And, every company has, new ways of looking at the same problems or different problems and new ways of spotting interesting things. And at its core, you go to a card show, like I said, taking it back to really what we set out to do. There's a variety of grading companies there. And we just want to, again, make sure that they're vetted, make sure that we're not providing an opportunity for anyone to have a bad first experience with the hobby. We want everyone to have a good first experience with the hobby because we think that's going to bring them back time and time again.
No, I think that's all sound great. One of the reasons I started creating content right at the cusp of the boom was I saw a lot of new creators out in the market putting information out there that I'm like, wow, that's way wrong. And that's going to drive people down the wrong path. And some of the stuff was like, I remember one creator would and I'm not going to say names, one creator would constantly say, you know what you could do is buy cards on credit, on your credit card, and don't worry about paying for it now because they're all going to go up and then you can pay it off and have money. Like, and I made it, do not do that. Do not spend your mortgage. Don't max out your Visa card on sports cards. If you don't have the capital, liquid funds to do it, don't do it.
So that takes me back to the crazy days of Project 2020. Yes. Like the early days of Project 2020. I just remember everyone. I was like, oh, you just buy today and buy tomorrow with the profits you made today. And everything kind of came crashing down really quickly that way. So totally agree. It's not, want to encourage people to, collect what they love, do it in a fun way. I think one of the great things about the hobby is it is a great, foray into entrepreneurship for a lot of people. It's a really cool way of, learning some of those lessons and, having the successes, also having the moments of learning, but definitely don't want anyone to get over their skis or do anything that would, put anything that's much more important in their life at risk by focusing too much on this stuff.
Absolutely.
At the end of the day, there's still pictures of people on cards that we just happen to really, really love.
Absolutely. Now, and we mentioned eBay and other platforms. So I know one of the big, I guess, gripes, if you will, with other platforms, let's say eBay, is eBay siding substantially with the buyer over the seller. And Project 2020 was a great example where sellers would say, sell Mike Trout, this card here. Let me grab it. They were selling this card here.
Yeah.
Card fluctuated from when I remember when I bought this card, I had no idea Project 2020 would be a thing. And I just thought it was really cool looking. I'm like, wow, I'm going to collect these and just put them up in the display. And then all of a sudden, like, wait, how much is this card worth? I mean, at one point it was like $2,500. My wife's like, sell it. That card looks crazy. Sell the card. I'm like, no, it looks cool. I want to keep it. And then I watched the price go down. I think like say $400 or $500. I'm like, well, still, I bought it with no intention of selling it, but I know a lot of sellers popped it up at 2000, and when the Griffey Shore card released,
Yeah.
and I think it sold around 50,000 copies and blew out the previous populations.
I think it was even higher. I think it was.
Might have
I
maxed.
think it might have been close to 90,000 because I remember before that the Ben Baller Mike Trout card was like the big blow up one, right? And I think that was about 35,000.
Yeah, and then the Griffey Shore just destroyed the market. And when that came out, all the people who had just sold a bunch of 2020 cards watched the price start dipping. And why I bring this up is because then buyers started either canceling their orders,
Yep.
or they started returning their orders saying, hey, it's cracked or scratched, and making all the stuff up. Hopefully we never see a situation like that again where people were selling cards that they didn't even have in hand yet. But what does Arena Club have in terms of buyer and seller protection?
Yeah, really good question. It's something that's super important. It's one of the many things that we're trying to improve on the buying and selling experience, right? And again, not to sound like a broken record, but I take it back to the card show. You go buy a card at a card show, you can go back to that guy 3 hours later and you can beg and plead all you want, but he's under no guarantee that he's going to take that card back and refund your money or anything, right? Assuming that it's not, a fake or fraudulent card or something. And no, so a few things. I think, it's both a blessing and a curse, and something that I think a lot of collectors don't like. And we're okay with that. It's a new way of collecting, but in order for a card to be sold on the Arena Club marketplace or traded on the Arena Club marketplace, it has to be in our vault, which is a secure vault. It's a safe, insured, fireproof, flood-proof, all like really high tech place. And that means that when the transaction happens, the ownership of it is immediately transferred. You don't have to ship it. You don't have to wait in the mail, which means that claims of, it got damaged in the mail or anything like that, kind of off the table, right? And then again, since we only sell graded cards and our own cards have these very transparent grading reports, you actually have that transparency into these cards ahead of time, which means you can also have the same transparency into it afterwards. Of course, nothing's going to happen in the cards because oftentimes, unless somebody's actually going to pull it out of the vault, the physical location of the card doesn't actually change. It's just what we call a DPOC, digital proof of claim, which is your receipt. That means you own that and you can take that out of the vault whenever you want. So that's part of it. With traditional payments, credit cards and what have you, chargebacks are an issue. And there are certain ways that we're trying to combat that. So first of all, we're managing chargebacks on our end. If we have to reverse a transaction, we're really focused on trying to not do that. And if we have to, first of all, banning that person that's charging back, because we know that that's a fraudulent claim. We've done it already a couple of times, but for the most part, as we eliminate the opportunities for bad actors as much as possible, we really see that most people, especially most collectors, are doing this because they're passionate about it, because they like it. And what's been a little bit of a positive to see so far is there's really not that many people that are going to go jump through hoops to be bad actors. If you put it on a silver platter right in front of them and you make it really easy, they'll do it, which is a shame. But, you just put a little bit of red tape in their way or a little bit of trouble to go through it, and they're not going to do it. So as we scale, it's definitely front of mind for us. We're working on different steps that we can take. In order to be a seller, you have to have your bank account verified. And your address is verified through Stripe, which we're using as our payment processor. And just, a lot of these steps that if you have to actually put your name behind something, you're probably going to think twice about, doing fraudulent claims and things like that. And so far we're seeing that that's been enough. We have bad actors, but we can deal with them on a one-off basis.
So in terms of, I know you're fairly newer to the market. How many users do you have now, or is that something you can quantify?
It's a great question. I actually don't know off the top of my head. I can tell you that we have roughly 15,000 cards on the marketplace right now.
Okay.
And that at launch about a month ago, we had over 200 beta testers that were already live at launch. I believe that we have somewhere around 1,500 to 2,000 users right now. I just don't have the most updated numbers on it. Um, and you know, we're gaining, you know, new users every day. New cards are coming in, both you know, graded cards and cards to be graded every day. So kind of the expectation is that, you know, by this time next year, we're really aiming to have over 1 million cards on our platform.
That's amazing. Before I let you go, can you tell the viewers how they can sign up and join the Arena Club family?
Absolutely. So there's a few ways to get involved. The easiest way is just to sign up for an account on Arena Club. If you sign up for an account, you follow our socials, Arena Club on Instagram and on Twitter. We do a bunch of giveaways with Derek Jeter autographs, Derek Jeter, you know, cards and you know, different merchandise. It's a great way to just follow along there and do different promotional stuff. But if you sign up with an account, you don't even have to go through the trouble of submitting cards. I know, honestly, submitting cards to be graded, or, you know, sending graded cards can be an intimidating part of the process. So if you just sign up, you can go in and you can go ahead and shop the marketplace without sending anything in yourself. You can go buy cards, and once you buy cards, you can decide that you want to have them retrieved, or you can leave them on your vault and your showroom, and have a showroom where you can kind of show off to your friends what you like to collect. And once you have that showroom, once you have cards in there, then you can sell them. You can trade them, which I think, you know, is the best part about Arena Club, is absolutely free trading when no money changes hands. So it's just like you're being just like you're at a card show. You know, you put your card on the table, somebody else puts their card on the table, and you make a deal. And if there's any cash involved, you can do that too. And the fees involved only apply to the cash of the transaction.
What are the fees, Warren? I forgot to ask you that.
It's a 5% fee on the transaction.
Great.
And then, yeah, so lower than a lot of other marketplaces. There's a one-time retrieval fee if you're pulling cards out of the vault.
Physically pulling, taking,
Yeah,
like, to your
exactly. If you want to have it mailed to you, there's a $25 fee. But what's important to know is that's per order, not per card. So
Okay.
if you want to
100 cards out and still pay $25.
exactly, plus shipping and insurance on that card. But yeah, the $25 fee is there because we have to send somebody to the vault. They have to retrieve the cards, and it's about the labor involved in pulling out the cards, the operations of packaging up and shipping. But yeah, you can be one card, it could be 100 cards, and you still only pay that $25 fee. So that's one way to get involved. The other ways to get involved is, you know, if you have PSA slabs, you have Beckett slabs, CSG, SGC slabs that you're interested in selling, you're interested in trading, you're interested in showing off. Right now, we're running a promotion for at least the next few months. You can submit that to our vault, so get it stored, insured, all of that, absolutely free, just by sending us those cards. So that's the next way to get involved. And the last way to get involved is to send your raw cards to us to be graded. And there's two options with that. We have what's called grade and vault, which is exactly what it sounds like. You get to grade your cards, you put it in our vault, and you get to have this awesome digital display of your card. You get to go through a reveal of your grade digitally and see the whole grading report. Or you can do the grade and return option, which is very much like a traditional grading experience that you would have with any other grading company, which is we send you back your cards in our Arena Club slabs. And on the back of every Arena Club slab, I actually have this giant Derek Jeter slab, which I can kind of demonstrate on. There's a QR code. And if you scan that QR code with your phone, that'll take you to a card specific grading report for that specific card. And on that card, so your subgrades are on the slab, but you'll actually be able to go and inspect a digital image of that card with the fully transparent grading report. You can do that also, you know, if you have it graded and vaulted, it's also on your profile. But even if you do grade and return, you get that whole report attached to it. And not only that, everyone that you buy, sell, or trade that card with can also follow along. So you take that card to a card show. We'll be at the Dallas Card Show in a couple of weeks here. anyone with one of our slabs, you can take it to a booth, and if somebody wants to know the intricacies of how that card got the grade that it did, or even the subgrades that it did, they can take out their phone and they can just scan that QR code. It'll take them to a detailed grading report of that card, highlighted, any issues with the card and exactly why it got the grade that it did. And that's, permanently built into our slabs as a QR code. And so those are kind of the ways that people can interact. And I guess I kind of hinted at it there, but we will be at the Dallas Card Show. We'll be running a special for submissions there, $10 discounts on both our grade and vault and our grade and return options, as well as, again, taking free submissions of any graded cards. So anyone that, has a, plethora of cards that they're maybe either looking to get out of their, their room, and they want to be able to view them, but not necessarily have to hold them every day, or worry about them getting lost or stolen, they can do it that way. Derek, one of the things he likes to talk about is he had a huge card collection. His parents had this huge card collection. And so when he was, coming up in the majors, he would sign cards, right? They would make, a bunch of cards. And again, remember kind of the era that Derek came up in, 92, 90 through 96, even through, the early 2000s, you had multiple card companies making these cards. So you had a ton of these cards, and he had just like a huge collection of his own cards, autographs, rookies, what have you. And they were in his parents' house in Michigan, and his parents' house got hit by a flood, and he lost his entire collection. So that was kind of bringing the whole thing full circle to Derek. Is the vault really allows people to have that collection by the digital imagery that we have and the great animations that we have. You actually do get the feeling that you're turning the card over in your hands and things like that, but you get the insurance, you get the ability to transact it easily. You don't have to worry about your parents' house flooding.
Oh my gosh. So is that what drove him to become a great major league player and make millions of dollars, to be able to one day afford to recreate that childhood collection?
I think that probably had something to do with it. I think the funniest thing about Derek is he's a stubborn winner. My favorite Derek story is we were in New York in September for a launch. So after we had a bit of our launch event, he did some media on the Today Show and things like that. And then we were at a Yankees game. The Yankees were playing the Twins, and we were sitting up in a suite, and we're going through offers. We're both going through offers on our phone, and I go, "Hey, look, Derek, I just got this offer." And he takes my phone and he rejects it. What are you doing? And he goes, "You never accept the first offer." and that's his kind of, that competitive edge. He has it in collecting, just like he had on the field. So I don't know which drove which, but I can tell you that they're definitely related, with the way that he collects is kind of tied to the way that he played the game too.
Well, winners win, man. And, I'm a Philly fan, so I still have a grudge against the Yankees, but I'm also a sports fan and a baseball fan. And Derek Jeter is by far one of my favorite all-time players. There's no way you can't respect how that guy played the game. So thank you. That's a fun anecdote. I appreciate you sharing that. So once again, Warren Arena Club, it seems like there's some really cool options out there, some features for the platform. I'm certainly checking in. I'm already signed up. I'm definitely going to send some stuff in and see for myself as well. And I encourage others to do it as well. So thank you so much for your time, and good luck, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.